my first date was like texting to the hoochies there, right?
Oh.
Sending love poems.
Wait, hold on. On the date, they were sending texts to other women?
Yes. He even went to the bathroom.
And texted more?
Ugh.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Date Better with Heather. We are so excited for this episode because we have someone very special in the studio to learn from and give us her tips on dating better. She is from a very popular Netflix show. She is an absolute starlet, so beautiful inside and out, and also very accomplished. You might know her for her animation. We welcome Miss Dani Bowman to the studio.
And thank you so much, Heather, for welcoming me to the show. I'm honored to be here.
We are so happy to have you. And there's something really special about the show you're on. I don't know if you can feel it, but I think everyone watching it, I don't know. I mean, like, it's one of my favorite shows now. And I think you've touched so many people.
Indeed, yes. It won 3 Emmys, which
No way.
Yeah. It won last year, especially because it won for Best Casting, it won for Best Editing, and won for Best Reality Show overall.
Whoa.
And
that is insane.
Another important news, it's been on the top 10. It's ranked number 3 right now.
Oh, no, I know. It's probably going to get 1 soon. I just have a feeling. It's just such an incredible show. I tell everyone, you have to watch the show. The show really does follow. So it follows people on the spectrum, and it follows you going through modern dating.
Indeed, yes, and especially beginning to choose a different selection, whether the person on the autism spectrum are like, they're looking for the right person, the right suitor, the right match.
That's right. So before the show, did you date much, or was this kind of your first entrance into the world of dating?
Well, I have dated in the past before Love on the Spectrum.
Okay.
Though the past dates that I had, they were either they're either far away, or they're just too needy, or other times they just lie or cheat or anything. Which is really bad. Yes,
we'll have to get into that. So on the show, though, I know on season 2 you went on 3 dates. On season 1, how many dates did you go on?
I actually just went on 3 different types of suitors. The first one was Matt Dunford.
Okay.
The second one was Jake, and then the third one there's Adon Korea, which you are familiar with from season 2.
That's right. And so walk me through, I know that a lot of your early life was also spent focused on your career, and you still are very career oriented. And I know that's something that you're looking for in a partner is kind of a power duo, correct?
That is definitely correct.
I love it. And so on these 3 dates, can you walk me through what they felt like? And, maybe you could talk about what made you not decide to go on a second date with them, or how that went about?
Well, I'm going to start with Matt,
Perfect.
The person that I met in Long Beach.
Yes.
He is from San Diego, California, which is really far away. Don't get me wrong, he's a really, really nice guy, and especially because he works really hard, and not only he works for a trading card company, but he also is one of the head managers of the San Diego Comic Fest.
Wow.
He's really amazing, charming guy. Has a nice Peter. He definitely has that Peter, that Peter Parker haircut from Spider-Man.
No, he was handsome. I remember him.
Oh yes, yeah. And we just didn't click.
Okay, what was it about that date that you didn't feel like you clicked? Because it seems like on paper you could have a lot in common.
Well, a trading card company could work, but if he's working for a trading card company, I don't think he has the talents or skills or the management. He's just works on the lower decks when it comes to like trading card. I'm not saying it's bad, but that's what he works. That's his choice. I totally understand. Anyways, Matt and I, we still remain really good friends.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that could happen during a failed date is that you remain friends.
Right. The saying goes, you either find the person you're going to be with forever, you make a new friend, or you get a great story. And so for you found a great friend, and that's okay. That's dating.
That is just fine. It's normal.
That's right.
And I've seen others say they remain friends.
That's right. And so this particular person, Matt, you decide, you kind of, it sounds like you really want to find someone that's going to be on the same level as you. And I know you mentioned starting an animation company together and having that. So for you and Matt, you decided, okay, I don't really see that future there. So tell me about the next date you went on.
The next date that I've been on, Jake is so wonderful. We first met in July of 2022. when we were at where I was premiering an animated short film at San Diego
Right.
Comic-Con. And how Jake get to meet me is because, unlike these little these creepos from Instagram that try to message me, Jake,
yes.
Jake was not any of these guys.
Okay.
He's different because he and his family purchased tickets for Comic-Con to go see me.
Wow.
So Jake and we got to know each other, and though he also, by the way, he was trying to get over his ex. But we remained friends.
That happens too.
Yes.
It's another piece of dating where someone might not be over someone, and it's not your fault. You just do,
Well, I never really wanted to date Jake at that time because I didn't really want to be his rebound. So
That's right.
So we got to know each other for 6 months, and at the time he was working with me at my animation company, Danimation.
No way. What was he doing there?
He's an animation instructor. He teaches
Wow.
students how to do animation. He also teaches music, which is incredible. I thought I saw a bright future ahead of him. So when Keno Cleary, the director of Love in the Spectrum, asked me again for season 2, and asking if there were any suitors for season 2. So I recommended Jake to be part of season 2. So then during the filming of season 2, Jake agreed that we both went on the date, but sadly, I think Jake had cold feet.
Yeah, it's possible. Why do you think that?
Well, it's because he didn't feel like he's just not ready for he wasn't ready for the relationship, which really it was heartbreaking. He couldn't really send me a Valentine or anything. My friends send me Valentines, but Jake didn't really care. What he did, although he's really nice and all, don't get me wrong, he's really nice, very respectful, though he didn't want to keep my hopes high. But anyways, even though it was heartbreaking, I got over it very quickly. We still remain friends.
And I bet you learned something from each person you date. You learned something. So the first person you dated, Matt, you were like, well, he has a lot of good things, but I just don't think he's right. And then almost like you got a little warmer with Jake. There seems to be a lot of interest. You could maybe see that future there. And then you get on the date and you figure out maybe there's not a match here. And that's all the cool parts of dating. And then your next date that you went on, and I believe this was your last date, was with Adon, correct?
That's right, Adon. Many of you are familiar with Adon.
Yes, I think he's a fan favorite now for you.
Thank you.
Tell me about, I know that you had originally went on a date with him in season 1, okay?
That's true.
And then I know you mentioned a few times not being as attracted to him at first. Can you touch on maybe how the attraction for him grew to season 2?
The attraction kind of grew over time.
Yeah.
When I first met Adon, I was not so sure because I broke off from the first date in season 1.
Right.
Just getting to know him. And when I said that never judge the book by its cover, I was referring my first date, not Adon though, because I thought Adon is really nice. He made me laugh, and definitely he's got some humor to it.
He's also very cute.
I thought
he's a very handsome guy. Yeah.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, so one thing I think people took it when you said don't judge a book by its cover was that you weren't attracted to him, but you're saying, oh no, I actually was. Yes, yes.
That's true.
And then, so do you think, a lot of people listening, I think some of us can fall into that trap where we do judge a book by its cover and we say, oh, well, I don't think he's very cute, so I'm going to not pay attention to him. But
then I get to know Adon a little bit
more
for a couple of days. It
that
never
grew
hurts
a lot
to try, right?
That's right. So would that be something that you believe that attraction can grow?
Yes.
And to give to anyone listening, maybe they should give people more chances?
Which reminds me that you can give chances to see if the relationship tends to grow or if the relationship tends to blossom over time.
That's right. Right. And that happens a lot.
And speaking of, Adon and I were thinking about seeing each other again, maybe at the Aquarium of the Pacific.
That's where I've been wanting to go so badly.
Yes.
And for anyone listening, there's an aquarium in Long Beach, and I don't know, there's something nostalgic about going to an aquarium.
It's amazing. I go there for the Festival of Human Abilities. We have a booth there where I do lots of animation demonstrations. It's happening this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Saturday and Sunday.
Wait, so you might have a date Saturday and Sunday?
Well, I could if this Saturday. Well, if for anybody that is going to the Aquarium of the Pacific, if anybody has a disability, it's free with plus one guest with advanced admission.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I've actually, seriously, that's been on my mind to go to an aquarium first, aquarium date. I love it. So I'm going to ask you a few more questions,
Okay.
just so we can get to know you a little better. And then we're going to go into your 5 tips, which I'm so excited to hear. Dani, what is dating like in the public eye?
Well, what was dating like in the public eye? I would say like people looking at us like, well, I didn't really care about people looking at us or staring at us unless there's something wrong during the date, like if I'm being my boundaries being disrespected, that's when it's the most unacceptable.
Yes, that's true. Do you feel totally comfortable being yourself on camera, or
yes,
do you?
Okay. I am comfortable myself being on camera.
I love it,
and especially because they are a small group. They're very genuine. The camera crew are very accommodating.
Do you get to pick your dates on the show?
Well, picking the dates on the show, well, with speed dating it does, but then with blind dates, you never know.
So you don't know who's going to show up?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that fun for you? Do you like the surprise?
Yes.
Okay, I bet. So since being on the show, I know another thing you mentioned was there's a lot of people in your DMs. Is that right?
That is definitely true. Some people are like, hey, would you like to go over to Colorado to date with me? Or
that's right. You
like
mentioned that.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I know you've had some bad DMs, like the guy made a move and it was not so good.
Yeah. Or what they do is that they risk themselves into like taking pictures of suggested images of themselves.
No, you've received those types of DMs?
Yeah, that was like embarrassing.
Oh no.
That is definitely account suicide.
That's right. What do you think is a really good DM slide? What do you recommend if there's a guy listening and he's like, I really like this girl, how should he reach out to her? He's never met her, but he sees a cute girl, maybe it's you. What sort of DM would you like to receive?
What DM that I should receive is that, hi Dani, we definitely love the show, and I tell my friends get to know them like girlfriends or anything. We recommended this show to my friends, all of this. Just we want to say how amazing you were on the show, all of this, like that.
Okay, so just they basically established they've gotten to see you a little bit and they think that you're someone that they'd be interested in learning more about.
That's right.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it. I would love to hear about your funniest first date moment.
One of my funniest first date moments, I would say, is that, well, that was during the first date in season 1. I just thought
what happened?
Well, I just thought in season 1, remember from the trailer in Love on the Spectrum US season 1?
Okay.
When I told the first date, you're so hot, I was like laughing, right?
That was I loved it though.
But that is a guy that first date was pretty bad news. I didn't
really.
Yeah.
Okay. So the funniest was because you said that he was so hot. That's a good moment. That was a really sweet moment in the show. What are your goals for the future when it comes to dating?
Well, the goals when it comes to like further dating, well, with me and Adon, we are currently like texting right now at the moment, but eventually we'll meet somewhere in the middle just to like be able to date together sometime. I'm looking forward to more of what we talk about more on dating.
Yeah, so getting to know each other more.
That's right.
Amazing. Is there anyone you look up to for dating advice?
Anybody that I look up to? There's one person named Jennifer Cook. Jennifer Cook, she's also on Love on the Spectrum as well as the dating coach.
Yes, she is so good on that show.
And especially because how she helped Abby and Sabo in season 1.
Yes.
How she even helped Tanner too in season 2.
What did she help you on again?
Well, she helped me on like, what is like love? What comes love before? What comes between sex and love? Intimacy.
Can you elaborate more on what that means?
What she means is that she allows me to write down some notes of like some questions like for example, do you believe in sex before marriage?
So asking questions around intimacy.
That's right.
Sometimes those are brushed past and people don't ask those. It's a really good note. So would you recommend that people make a similar list of questions to ask before they go on a date?
Like jot down some notes down.
Maybe like date number 4 or 5, things to ask around that.
That's right.
That's a great tip. Do you have a bunch of glasses at home? Because people are big fans of your glasses.
Well, I have plenty of them glasses, and sometimes I change like each year I would change the style of the glasses depending on like
each year.
Yes, because one of my favorites was the rimless glasses because it kind of looks, it looks good on me. And in the last one, I wear rounder ones in the second season.
Yes.
For this one, I'm right now wearing this tip. I really like what says Apple. I think this is called the Apple brand from France, I guess.
Oh, okay. And what do you call this era? These frames. What kind of Dani does this bring out?
Well, Dani's going through the uprising because even
Ooh, the uprising glasses. I love
That's
it.
right.
That's a good answer. As far as a first date outfit for a guy to wear, what is your favorite thing? How a guy dresses? What's your favorite look?
I think one of my favorite looks, I don't have a particular favorite, but I do really like it when he's like dressed gentlemanly, like he's clothed, he knows what to dress.
Is he wearing a suit or is he wearing more of a casual look?
Casual look, but fun too.
Okay, so you like when a guy adds some flair to their outfits.
That's right.
Do you have a go-to first date outfit?
First date, I don't have one in particular.
You just go with your mood.
Yes.
That's how I dress too. I'm always like, do I feel whatever I feel today? That's what I pull on. I don't have a go-to first date outfit. A lot of people do though.
Well, do you remember that I also changed my hair on season 2?
Did you? I forget. I don't remember. What did you do different?
So what I did when I went on the date with Jake, I made my hair all curly like that.
Oh, okay. I think maybe I didn't see that far. Or I remember your date with Jake, but I couldn't remember the difference in hair. What inspired the different hair for that date?
Well, it's because he liked Grease, like
Oh, so you were
Grease.
Sandy.
Yes. yes.
That's good. That's good. Is there, and before we get into your tips, I'd love to kind of finish with this question, and then we'll after your tips, we'll talk about something else we're both pretty passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is a misconception that people have about dating someone with autism?
Well, the biggest misconception for people on the autism spectrum, especially us women with autism, is that we have been infantilized for so long. And
Ooh, yeah.
I just don't like being infantilized because we women on the autism spectrum have our wants and needs. And especially when it comes to intimacy and sex, right? Or sexuality,
yes.
right?
Yeah. We're going to talk all about that later after your tips.
Okay.
Let's get into your tips, though. So on Date Better, the whole purpose is we bring great people on and we all learn from each other's, things we've been through and experiences, and we teach each other how to date better. And so today we're going to be hearing Dani's top 5 tips. So we will start with dating tip number 5, if that's okay. So
Okay.
let's go for it.
My dating tip number 5. Never be afraid to get help from your friends and family who can help you with your relationships. I get help from Sandy and Patrick, who are helping me get into relationships with someone.
Okay. Do you recommend everyone to have a go-to friend that they go to and they talk about their dating life with?
Well, it's one of the choices. If you have a family member that trusts you or a friend that trusts you that recommends who is the right date, that works.
Yeah, I agree. I think also, sometimes it helps to, because in our head we like to fantasize a lot. After we go on a date. We're like, oh my gosh, it's my head, and it was a really good date. And sometimes having a good close friend or family to talk about it with, and sometimes they'll bring you down to earth. They say, okay, that's great. You went on a great first date. You got to know them. Now they help us keep us in check and with reality. So I agree with that. That's a really good first tip, or that's a really good 5th tip. Let's go into your dating tip number 4.
My dating tip number 4, it's to remember to recognize these red flags because you never know what the date that you're going on a relationship is doing. You suspect it, but it can be suspicious because I had one date in Love and Spectrum. I didn't realize my first date. My first date was like texting to the hoochies there, right?
Oh,
sending love poems.
Wait, hold on. So someone what on the date they were sending texts to other women?
I did not know that. I didn't realize that.
Wait, tell me. Okay, so you sat down on the date, right? And he was on his phone, and that's what he was doing on his phone?
Yes. He even went to the bathroom.
And texted more?
Ugh.
Oh my goodness. How did you find this out?
Well, how I found this out was after the filming of season 1.
Okay.
When my first date and I got together again, and we were and he was with Sandy and Patrick. How did they discover that? Well, text messages, big time.
Wait, did he just show his phone, or how did
Well,
you
he
discover
left after he left his phone.
Oh no. And then you guys saw that he was texting on the date. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what sort of things was he texting? Was it just very, because, when you're dating, you do have to assume that, you aren't exclusive yet. You're just getting to know each other. So maybe there could be other people that they're talking to. Was it something, it was not that. It was a bit of gross text.
Or it's just poems that he sent.
Oh, okay.
All the time, like cookie cutter.
Oh, I see. So it was, it kind of felt ingenuine.
Yeah.
Disingenuine. That's really bad. So how do you make sure that doesn't happen in the future?
Well, I have to be sure that maybe I could just ask what you're doing and all this. Another thing
that's
they
true.
should, I think another thing they should do, what he should do is that if I see somebody that says, no, none of your business, that's a red flag. If he's like,
if he's shady.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's
he's like,
good.
none of your beeswax or all that.
Oh, okay. Has someone said that to you? Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So he was like, they call it sus. He was being sus.
Yes.
He was being suspect. Yeah, that's not good. So as far as red flags in this tip, you're saying pay attention to red flags and don't ignore them.
That's right.
Okay, that's a great fourth tip.
My dating tip number 3 is find the best day and time to get to know where you want to go for your next date. Agree with the days and times.
Okay. Can you elaborate more on what you mean by that?
What I mean that is that we have a conversation, especially when we're texting, we talk about what days and times what we have available and what can we agree upon to see if it works. And finding common interests is very important.
Right. And what do you think if a guy just says want to hang out?
It's not going to work.
I agree.
Elaborate. You have to elaborate
That's right.
a little bit more.
You say, okay, well, let me know when and where. And if a guy doesn't do that, that's a red flag, right?
That's right.
That's right. And as far as first dates, when they choose when and where, what do you think is the best way for a guy to pick a first date spot?
I think the best way they can pick pick a good spot, maybe for a coffee place, or maybe something that he has to do something that would make both of us happy, right?
Yeah. And what does that look like for you? What's your favorite first date spots?
I think one of my favorite first date spots would be by the coffee shops or or an art gallery or by the library.
That's a good one. What is it about coffee shops that make them a great first date spot?
What makes coffee shops a great dating spot is because it's a quiet environment. It's definitely the aroma of the coffee you're smelling, and some of the seating areas could be really comfortable. It really depends on the location.
Okay.
What I also especially really like going to is cat cafes, right?
Is that where the cats walk around?
Yes, where the cats walk around.
Have you gone on a first date to a cat cafe?
No.
Oh, okay. That's on the goal, the bucket list.
Tip number 2, just ask questions about their interests so you can get to know somebody.
Right.
So getting to know somebody is really great because you get to see what their background is like, what their family background is, what their education is. Mm-hmm. Speed dating is really good about helping the people get to know the person.
Yeah. And what sort of questions do you like to ask on a first date?
So what I do is I ask them about where's your education background,
right.
Where did you go to school, all this, or what is your favorite places you like going, and what's your education is like, all this. I search for those.
Okay, I love those. Those are really good questions. Just getting the basics down, nothing too intense yet. Just learning what you want. Awesome. And what are we on? Tip number 1?
My dating tip number 1 is before you initiate and get into a relationship, you have to date at least 4 to 5 dates before you kiss somebody. Ooh. Or initiate express your love interest on the date. That's the mistake I made on my first date on Love on the Spectrum season 1, is I expressed myself too quick. I need to get to know the blind date first.
Yes, that's a great tip. I actually made a prediction on my TikTok for over the next 2 years. I think a lot of women with modern feminism were like, we can kiss anyone, we can get with anyone. And
whoa, slow down like that, right?
Well, yes, exactly. That's so my prediction is I think that we had an era where a lot of women were being more forward about that. We were being physical quicker. And I said, I think that made guys a little bit lazier because, there was before that, the guy had to really court a woman and really be a gentleman before we're ever even going to consider that. And I think now we're going to be seeing a lot more women being a little more slow about those things and the guy has to be a gentleman and court us well and be a better guy before we're going to be physical at all.
That's right.
So, and I think that's a good thing for women across all over. Thank you so much for those tips. And I think that really brings us into our sort of final part of this podcast where we talk about, one thing that I know that you're passionate about is making sure that women on the spectrum are more educated on sex and being physical.
That's right. And especially because they have to keep themselves safe because whether a predator, you don't know whether the date could be a predator or not.
That's right.
It's like it's hard to tell. He could be a wolf underneath a sheep's clothing, and especially because when he may look nice or everything and good looking, remember what I said about the wolf underneath the sheep's clothing? Yeah. He could put a drug in your drink. Like, wow. You have no idea. Like, you didn't realize that there was a drug in your drink.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think one thing that you touched on was a lot of people on the spectrum are infantilized.
Yes.
And so that's not a topic that you talk about. And I think even for me, I grew up very religious in a very religious home. And so that wasn't something you talk about either. And unfortunately, as women, we have to think about our safety. And so this is something that we should talk about and we should normalize.
We should normalize that.
Yes.
Because what's so bad or what's so much of a dirty topic to talk about sex and intimacy? We have to keep ourselves safe.
That's right.
Very important. And most importantly, we have to know boundaries because
that's right.
Because boundaries is a very important thing. And whenever we say no to the guy, he has to agree to say he'll just back off a little bit. Otherwise, if he initiates or continues, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. Was there an experience that you had that it was not safe?
That was my first date.
Okay.
That outside of the filming.
Yeah.
He was just not going beyond my boundaries. Like, okay. I told him no, and he just initiated the kiss anyways, forced kiss. And I was like, 5 more minutes. He's like, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, like that. Yes.
And you didn't want any more kissing.
He's like, be honest with me, talk to me, all that. He's like.
So for you believe that, and this is facts, that even for a kiss, the guy should say, "Is it okay if I kiss you?"
And if there's a yes or a no, there is a yes. You have to let him know when and when not to.
That's right. And is there a time, or how do you say when not to? Do you say, I do not want to kiss right now? Just for anyone listening, maybe they're nervous and they're like, how do I tell someone? How do I say these things? Can you share how you think people should say yes or say no?
I think if you say no, if somebody says no to saying kiss, you just say, okay, that's fine. That's how you like.
But not get mad about it, because some guys get really mad if you say no to something.
Yeah, the first date was pretty bad.
Yeah, that happens. That's why it's important to talk about it. Because I grew up religious where that wasn't talked about either. I wish that I heard a podcast like this where, people said, hey, get educated on this topic. Is there any particular resources that you think people should read or listen to get more educated if they don't maybe come from a family that talks about that?
I would say just look up some sites that were very helpful. And I think your wonderful app definitely is very extra helpful.
That's the whole point. Yeah. So
because it's trusted, it's well trusted with different health organizations that help sexual health.
Yeah, yeah. So if anyone listening doesn't know, I'm the founder of a dating app, actually. And part of the reason I started it was because right now 33% of rapes that happen are actually from guys from dating apps. And I was unfortunately a part of that stat. And so the way that Hula works, Hulah, is every guy has to be endorsed by a woman to join. And every guy that you see on the platform, you can see the girl who brought him in and you can message her at any time. So while you're chatting with the guy, maybe you want to talk to the girl who endorsed him and say, hey, I have a few extra questions. And you can see the girl's ID verified. You can see her Instagram. You can get more information about the guy through the friend. So it's a bit more trusted and much safer for women. So that's a big part of why we do what we do.
Something I really like.
Yeah, it's really special.
Other dating sites didn't really talk about that. It's kind of it's misled.
Yeah, it's kind of like your fifth tip, which was talking to friends and family. I'd like to add also also, sharing your location even with friends and family, saying, hey, I'm going to be here right now, just so, everyone's aware of where you are.
That is true. And it even has some safety tips on, like, if you're being attacked, call 911, all of this.
That's true. Yeah, we have lots of safety tips. That's what it's all about is, making things safer for women. It's so important, especially, our conversation about, staying away from predators, all those red flags. That's why we do what we do at Hula. So, well, Dani, I'm so happy that you came on the show, and I feel like we got to learn so much from you, and you're just such a light on television.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I think your whole show, I mean, it's beautiful to watch, but also I think we all learned so much from it too. There's something special about the way that you look at the world. And
it is true, especially for us people on the autism spectrum.
Exactly. A lot of modern dating is very toxic, and it's very laden with bad people. And I just think your show is a breath of fresh air, and all the cast is. And I don't know. I just think I was just so excited to have you on and learn from you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So tell us where to find you. Tell us about your animation so that everyone can, follow along.
So for anybody that would like to take my free introduction animation class, you can go to daniacademy.com/free. And for those who want to learn the general website about what we do at Danimation and our client projects, you go to www.danimationentertainment.com. You can find me on social media. You can find me on Facebook as Dani Bowman. You can find me on X, Danimation ENT. My company can also be found on Facebook as well. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads as Dani Bowman 1. And you can find me on LinkedIn and Danimation as well. And we also have a Danimation Patreon page. You can find
gosh.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's awesome. And then you guys know where to find us at It's Heather Hopkins, my personal, or at Date Better Pod. And of course, make sure you're on Hula, the best dating app in the world, safest dating app for women, filled with better guys. I will see you guys next week. Thanks so much, Dani.
Thank you so much.
Yay!
Oh, yay.